writers, it's Becca, and I'm talking today about how we can use tropes and archetypes to create characters that are familiar but also unique and new. Because let's face it, it's not easy to build believable and well-rounded characters from scratch who are a perfect fit for the story we're writing. The good news is that there are tried and true templates that can make the process easier and more efficient. They're called character archetypes and tropes. And with a little out-of-the-box thinking, we can use these building blocks to create a cast of fresh, unique, and authentic characters. So let's start by clarifying the difference between archetypes and tropes. Character archetypes are recurring figures that show up in stories across time and culture. Examples include the hero, the rebel, lover, and jester. Tropes are also familiar characters that appear in many stories, but they're not universal in nature. They've been culturally influenced, so they only work within a certain location or time frame. Think about the nerd, which is a creation of Western society, or the hot billionaire, which can only be found in cultures with an uber-rich demographic. Also, tropes are often a derivative or modified version of an archetype. The big funster, for example, is a trope based on the jester archetype. The queen bee is a specific kind of ruler, and so on. Archetypes and tropes as storytelling tools are helpful because they provide an outline for certain kinds of characters. And if you're writing one of those characters into your story, you already know some of the traits, tendencies, and behaviors you'll want to include. The drawback is that if you rely solely on the historical version of the type or trope, you end up with a character we've all seen before, boring and predictable. A good balance is to keep enough of the building blocks so the character is recognizable, but add some twists to make them fresh. This is essentially what the type and trope thesaurus helps you do. Let me show you what I mean. We've explored 12 character archetypes in this collection, along with a ton of popular tropes that can be used to build a character. Let's say your story calls for a hopeless romantic. The first half of each entry provides information about this type so you can see how it's historically been portrayed. We have some general information here and popular examples from fiction that can be used as a reference. You can also see the positive and negative traits that are often associated with the trope, as well as behaviors and tendencies a hopeless romantic traditionally would display. Then we provide a list of limiting fears that would be common for this kind of character, difficult scenarios that can provide opportunities for growth or regression, and reasonable inner struggles, all material you can incorporate into the character's arc and your story's structure. This introductory information is helpful because it provides a framework for what readers can expect from this kind of character. And to a certain extent, you want to fulfill that expectation because of the familiarity and the comfort it brings. But if there's one truth about fiction, it's that at some point, comfort becomes a liability. While familiarity is good, cliches, stereotypes, cardboard characters, and predictability are not. The key to building a character based on a trope is to keep some of the familiar foundation that's associated with it, but then add something unexpected. Reimagine the trope to create something new and interesting. And that's where the rest of the fields come in handy. First, what has become cliched with this trope? This is good to know so we can avoid recreating characters that already exist and have become tired and boring. Instead, consider what would be unexpected for this kind of character. What unusual traits, tendencies, fears, and gender roles could you incorporate to come up with a new hopeless romantic? We share some possibilities in the Twist This Trope section to kickstart the brainstorming process. Then, what jobs or careers might they have that readers haven't seen before? Something that would be surprising. And what other tropes and archetypes could you meld with the hopeless romantic to break the mold? This is where the thesaurus as a whole can become a fantastic brainstorming tool for helping you create a new, never-seen-before character that will knock readers' socks off. When you're working with tropes, it's all about finding that balance between familiar elements and the unexpected. And that's what the type and trope thesaurus is all about. We hope you enjoy it. As always, we have a tutorial that covers archetypes and tropes, so check that out for more information. Happy writing!